एकस्मिन्नव्यये शान्ते चिदाकाशे मले त्वयि कुतो जन्म कुतः कर्म कुतो हंकार एव च. What ekasmin, in one, what is non-dual? It is one without a second. That is called the non-dual, is called the one. In the oneness, avyaye, in the changeless, ekasmin avyaye, shante, which is absolutely peaceful, chidakashe, in the unlimited awareness, amale, in the pure awareness, twayi, in you. Bapre. See, it is possible to imagine the oneness, the changeless, the Shanta, the Chidakasha, the Amala, but you can't speculate your own existence. There is least scope, or there is less scope to speculate about one's existence. Even so, a samsara is an error about one's existence, but deliberate speculation, the scope for deliberate speculation is less. There is not much. Anything else, you think of it, the connotation. And every word has a connotation that also looks like a word. And that word has a connotation that also looks like another word. The connotation of every word appears to the mind as another word. It's a very funny thing. But when it comes to your existence, you can't conclude it, it doesn't come to you as another word. Chidakasha, you will say. You will again speculate it as something for which you give a word. Space of awareness, you will say. And you start imagining. But the word tvam always comes to you as your being, as your presence. Therefore, it is said in oneness, in the changeless, in the peaceful, in the unlimited awareness, in the pure, in the you. Kuto janma, how can there be a janma, an event of janma? That kutaha means how there can be an event of janma. Kutaha karma, how can there be an event of action? Kuto ahankara, how can there be an event of assertion? Vanity, that is also an event of ahankara. Then we say, janma is not an event, but it is a notion. Okay. Karma is not an event, it is a notion. Kartritvam is a notion. Okay. Ahankara is not an event, but it is a notion. Okay. That means inside the truth a notion is possible. See, a notion is a notion only from the notion's point of view. But from the truth point of view, there is no notion also. Neither there can be an event. An event of janma there is neither an event of janma or a notion of janma. It is not an event of janma. It is not an event of Janma. It is only a notion of Janma. And a notion of Janma doesn't qualify the truth. It is easy to understand that notions do not qualify the fact. Life is not an event, Janma is not an event. In fact, there is no event. Even event is a notion. What looks an event is a notion. Like the events in the dream are notions. Events in the dream are also dreamt. That's called notion, perception. Therefore, even the idea of notion and the event is only from avidya drishti. Otherwise, there are no events. There are only notions. Notions means perceptions. And every notion is made of the truth, like mirage is made of the sand. Yes, just as the waveness is made of water, or just as snake is made of rope. What a made ji. One is a fact, the other is only perception. What is independent of thinking, whereas a notion is in the form of thinking. The best way of looking at life. Life is in the form of thinking, and the truth is what is independent of thinking. One's existence is independent of thinking. And therefore, kuto janma, how can there be janma? Kutaha karma, how can there be any karma? Kutaha ahankara evacha, how can there be a self-error also? Inside the self, there is no self-error. We refer to the self-error only from the point of view of the self-error. We talk about the snake from the sarpadrishti. Only from sarpadrishti we talk about the sarpa, otherwise there is no sarpa. Seeing sarpa, we talk about sarpa. In the knowledge of the rope, there is no snake, you don't talk about it. We talk about Jagat only in the context of perception of Jagat. And within the context of the Jagat, within the context of the error, we speculate about the truth. What could be the truth of this appearance? But in that truth, there is no appearance. We say there is sound. Silence is an underlying reality. Let us call it underlying truth. But from the silence point of view, it is not underlying reality. It is the sole reality. It is a reality unqualified. When we say it is underlying reality, it becomes qualified as though. But it is not underlying reality, it is unqualified reality. And therefore, this adhyaropa apavada way of thinking has to be followed. Like, you are a mother only as an individual, but as a silent being, you are not a mother. As a waking individual, you are a mother, father, son, daughter, etc., etc. All kinds of messy things one is. And as a Swarupa, none of them. Because one is free from them, that is why we say he transcends them. Not that because he transcends them, he is free from them. Because by nature he is free from them, and all that is not his nature has laya in him. It's like you have to think like this. Because Atma is Brahma, Vedanta comes and says, thou art Brahma.
Not because Vedanta says so, because Vedanta says that Atma is Brahma, therefore Atma is Brahma. ऐसा नहीं. Upadesha precedes the evidence. First there is evidence and there is Upadesha. Therefore, in truth, there is no Sansara is there from Sansara Drishti. From Atma Drishti, there is no Sansara. Creation is there from the creation Drishti. From the source Drishti, there is no Srishti. Inside the Sushupti, there is no Jagrat. From Jagrat Drishti, we talk about two states, Jagrat and Sushupti. Jagrat and Sushupti is a reference done in the Jagrat Avastha. But inside the Sushupti, there is no Jagrat. Even this statement, I was asleep, you are awake, is only from Jagrat Drishti. But from the Sushupti Drishti, there is no you, there is no other person. Thus, this is a great teaching, a teaching from 2 points of view. The error point of view and the fact point of view. The error point of view, there is error and there is an underlying fact. From the fact point of view, there is no error. From the silence point of view, there is no noise. From the noise point of view, there is noise and underlying silence. Underlying silence. Bhagavan is the underlying truth. This statement is made from Srishti Drishti. From Iswan Drishti, he is not underlying truth, he is the sole truth. There is nothing else. He doesn't underlie, he doesn't overlie. Even these statements like he pervades everything. Even the pervaded relationship is also from the pervaded point of view, Srishti point of view. Vyapya Vyapaka Bhava. Similarly, Karya Karana Bhava. Any relationship, these are all the relationships, fundamental relationships which are all in the form of Prakriya. Prakriya understood, there is no Prakriya. That is called Prakriya. A Prakriya doesn't remain in the mind as another thought. A Prakriya understood, there is no Prakriya. When a Prakriya is understood, there is no Prakriya, there is no problem also, there is only Vastu. If you speculate about the truth, that speculation sticks to your mind as another thought. It's nothing. Prakriya understood is no longer Prakriya. Shastram understood is no longer Shastram. It is Jnanam. And therefore, Bhagavan says, in you, sir, in you the one, in you the changeless. There are so much of chaos in the world, but the underlying truth is the seer. The underlying silence is your being. You don't have to strike depths, you are constantly within experience of depths. Anything that is contrary to Vedanta creates a problem. Vedanta unfolds, sir, the truth is, in and through the noise it is evident. Your existence is evident. As the seer of the form, you are formless. As the seer of the sound, you are sound free. As aware of the changes, you are changeless, you are silent. You cannot be more deep than you are through your reflection. Whatever is the silentness of one's being before you begin vichara, You can't be more silent than that. The evident silence cannot be increased. The evident silence cannot be increased. The evident oneness cannot be increased. And therefore, changes. I know samsara is full of, it's like a storm. Life is a storm. But your existence is the silence. For this they give examples. Samsara is like the waves. Your being is like the depths of the ocean, silent. But there again it becomes, one is superficial, the other is very, very deep. Aisa bhi nahi. Here the waves are only, see, in waterness there is only water, nothing else. Wave is only a form. As forms there is a storm. Those forms do not qualify waterness. Waves do not qualify waterness. Isn't it true, ji? Waves do not qualify waterness. Water remains water. Even if you call it ocean, it is a label. If you call it a wave, it is an ocean. Even ocean is like Ishvara. That is also describable. But in understanding the ocean as water it is free from the labels of the waves and the labels of the ocean. It is only water. In the waterness there is no oceanness. In the waterness there is no waveness. Kitni badi baat hai. Similarly, in awareness, in your being, there is no jagat. In silence, sound doesn't qualify silence. Like greenness qualifies a tree. Sound doesn't qualify silence. Color doesn't qualify colorlessness. Or, I can give even some drastic examples. Sound doesn't qualify form. Visibility doesn't qualify audibility. There is a vision, there is audition, there is a taste, touch, smell. These five perceptions don't qualify one another. It's amazing, ji. But when you look at an object, I look upon it as a noun with so many adjectives. Form is a noun, it can be touched, it can be tasted, smelt, heard, etc. We look at the objects as nouns and adjectives. But if you look at all the five perceptions, there is no noun-adjective relationship. There is no noun-adjective relationship. No, Swamiji, there is no noun-adjective relationship. Naiji. There is no noun-adjective relationship. Then how can they be together? That is an illusion. Therefore, there is no noun-adjective relationship in this creation. The very noun-adjective relation, sansarga, is adhyasa. Even though we accept sansarga in an object, but on vichara, even in object there is no sansarga. There are only five perceptions. And these five perceptions do not qualify one another. And perceptions are easy to understand to be nothing but the perceiver. Like thinking is nothing but the thinker, the conscious being. Yatvam pashyasi tatraikah Tvameva pratibhasase Kim pritag bhasate Kim pritag bhasate swarnat Katakangadanuppuram Yat tvam pashyasi. One thinks, I am seeing that object. But the Shruti says, there are no two objects shining, only you are there. You are seeing something, even when you are seeing something else, there are no two, there is only you. Like even when you are seeing a dream, only you are there. There is no parallel fact. Dream objects are not there. Only you are there. Yat tvam pashyasi tatra ekaha. There is only one. In all your perceptions, you alone are there. Right in that context, you alone are there. Right when I am seeing the wave, right there, water alone is. Right when I am seeing the dream, that fact is one alone is. But one doesn't know. While seeing the world, even when one is seeing the world, but one alone is. Yat tvam pashyasi tatra ekaha tvameva pratibhasase. You alone are existent. You alone are shining to be there. You alone are, your existence alone is evident. Not that there are two things evident. You are evident plus the object is evident. No. Even when you are seeing the object, only you are evident. Object is not evident. What is evident to you is not evident. What is self-evident alone is evident. What is self-evident is evident. What is sense-evident is not independent of this self-evident. The wave is not independent of water. Therefore, one can say, water alone is. The table is not independent of the wood for its existence. Therefore, one can say that wood alone is. There is logic. Similarly, when you are aware of an object, that object is not independent of your existence. Yatvam pashyasi tatra ekas tvameva pratibha. This particular thought I have given you. You are not experiencing the object, you are only experiencing your own existence as the seer of the object. This is a very groundbreaking thought. You are not experiencing an object, you are experiencing yourself as a perceiver of an object. It is an error. Even when you are seeing an error, the fact alone is. Seer-seen relationship is an error. And in and through that error, freedom from the error alone is. The fact alone is. So you can't add it to the fact by correcting the error. You don't take away anything from the fact by not getting the knowledge. Fact remains a fact in and through ignorance, in and through knowledge. But then, Swamiji, why should I know the truth if the fact remains the same? But non-understanding of the truth has its implications. Then I look upon them as a reality. Then I suffer. Even my suffering doesn't affect the truth, but I go through suffering. It affects me without affecting my being. It affects my thinking. It may not affect my being, but it affects my thinking.
As an individual, it affects me. Even if it affects the being, I can say it doesn't affect the being. Why? Because the being, in fact, is not affected. The 10th man is affected until he understands that he is the 10th man. But even when he feels he is affected, the factuality of his being the 10th man is not affected. See, you must see exactly what is it that is not affected. The truth is not affected is a very big statement. The 10th man is crying for the 10th man. Even then, the fact of his being the 10th man is not affected. The whole world is suffering, but their being is unaffected. What is the use of that, Swamiji? That truth is not affected when I am crying. Yes, in ignorance you have to cry. You have no choice. In ignorance you have no choice. And therefore, it makes understanding the truth makes a difference. Understanding makes a difference to a person who has not understood. But understanding doesn't make a difference to the truth. Nor non-understanding makes a difference to the truth. सत्य तो वैसे के वैसे रहेगा. Views affect the conscious being who looks upon himself as another view. Even if somebody were to say it affects the truth, yet it doesn't affect the truth. He is also going to say that. He sees and yet he does not see. He is affected and yet he is not affected. I cry seeing the snake, but the rope remains the rope. In the same manner, I cry seeing myself as a helpless individual, but the fact remains intact that the inmost nature of one's being remains the foundation of the entire universe. So this literature is very fantastic. It's something, this is exactly what deserves to be thought about. There is nothing else in this world that deserves to be thought about. There's kuch nahi hai. There are so many things in this world, even if you don't think about them, you don't lose much. Kuch nahi. No opportunity lost is a loss in this world. But as a human being, if you don't really look into Vedanta, it is a loss. Because it says something that is very disarming. Very disarming. It tells me something that disarms me. Your view affects you, but even when it affects you, you are not affected. My God. Yes, you are, as an individual, you are affected, but as the being, you are not affected. 10th man is affected, and he is also not affected. Yatvam pashyasi tatraikaha tvameva pratibhasase kim pritag bhasate. Do they exist separate? Kim pritag bhasate swarnat. Do these details exist, are evident, separate from the gold? Kataka, Angada, Nupuram, some ornaments. I don't know what they are in Hindi. Kade, Baju Band, और पाए जेब पता नहीं जी है क्या ऑर्नामेंट्स काफी है जी. Are the ornaments evident separate from the gold? That should be taken. You should pose a question. Are they evident separate from gold? If they are not evident separate from gold, then they are gold. The universe is not evident separate from the seer. That they are separate is not a fact. If I think they are separate, it is my notion. But in terms of experience, I have a notion that they are separate, but I don't have an experience that they are separate. There is no experience that they are separate. If they are separate, then they should be evident to me, unrelated to me. Unrelated to me, unhinging on me. But no form exists independent of the seer. There is no evidence. Sound is not evident, unheard by the observer. Independent of the observer, there is no evidence of the observed. Independent of the Sakshi, the truth, there is no evidence of anything. Therefore, experientially, the universe is not separate from you. Notionally, it looks separate. The sense of, it is a sense of division. It is not an experience of division. Swamiji, but we always think we experience the division. That is because man doesn't understand the difference between thinking and anubhava. Anubhava is independent of thought, whereas thought is not independent of anubhava. Rope is an anubhava, snake is a notion. One's own existence is anubhava, and the world is abha. If I think that the world is different from me, it is not experience. Division is not an experience. Non-division is experience. Ananyatvam is anubhava. Form's non-separateness from the seer is anubhava. And that it is separate from me is a avidya, notion. Thus there is a difference between a notion and anubhava. We think that the world is different. Like, the dream is separate from me. It's not parallel to me. It is non-separate. If I think that the dream world is different from the dreamer, it is a notion. But experientially it is non-separate. The wave is non-separate from water. That is the anubhava. If everything is non-separate from the Sakshi, then Sakshi is non-dual. That means non-duality is a matter of anubhava, whereas division is a matter of notion. Are you able to follow? Non-division is a matter of anubhava, whereas division is a matter of notion. Unlimitedness is a matter of anubhava. If everything is non-separate from the being, that is unlimited. Similarly, my being conscious is anubhava, and the thinking that I am a form is a notion. Or I am synonymous, I am a conscious being, but then I am inextricably one with form. That is also, I am one with form is adhyasa. But the form is one with me. That is knowledge. Water is one with the wave is adhyasa. Looking upon the water as wave is adhyasa. But the wave is water is knowledge. Thus, experience is the evidence. Experience that is already there. Self-evidence tells the non-dualness, ekatvam. And therefore,
are the ornaments evident separate from the gold? No, not experientially. A goldsmith is intelligent enough to go by his experience. He doesn't think, gold is one reality and ornament is another reality. Because ornaments are evident as non-separate from gold. In the same manner, here also, the universe is evident as non-separate from the observer, as non-separate from the Sakshi, the witness. If I think my being aware is dependent upon the senses, then I am a pramata. If I think that I am aware of the object through the thought, I am jnata. If I understand that knowledge between the one who knows and what is known, there is nothing in between. It is ananyatvam, that is sakshi. Between the sakshi and the saksham, there is no sense of division. Sakshi is the karanam also. And sakshi is at once the sakshi is at once the sakshi, the karanam and the nirvisesham. Therefore, the universe is not evident, independent of your being. Next verse, Ji. Ayam soham, ayam naham, vibhagamiti sanchaja, sarvamatmeti nishchitya, nisankalpaha sukhi bhava. Don't even think Atma and Anatma are two parallel realities. Don't you become a Sankhya. Don't become a follower of Sankhya. Don't be a student of the stupid people. Be intelligent. Assert your intelligence. Truth and error are not two parallels. Therefore, ayam saha aham, ayam soham, this is me. Ayam naham, this is not me. This is me, this is not me. Iti vibhagam, is prakar ki sense of division. Santyaja, renounce. Renounce the sense of division between even in the vichara, this is me and this is not me. See, anatma is unlike atma, but it is not other than atma. अगर ये वाक्य अगर पकड़ लिया आप, you are a genius. Anatma is unlike atma. Unlike, it is unlike atma, but it is not other than atma. The form, the wave, is unlike the substance, the waterness. The form cannot quench me, quench my thirst, but water can quench my thirst. Therefore, form is unlike the substance, but form is not other than the substance. इसके बारे में विचार करना चाहिए. Jagat is unlike the seer, me, but it is not other than me. Snake is unlike the rope, but it is not other than the rope. The objects are unlike the subject, but they are not other than the subject. From the other side also I can say the subject is unlike the object, but it is the underlying truth of the object. It is the reality of it. It is unlike the object, but it is not. It is the truth of the object. And from the other side, the object is unlike the subject, but not other than the subject. This is what Bhagavan Krishnaji says. They are all in me. I am not in them. Meaning they all depend on me. But I don't depend on them. They are unlike me, but they are not other than me. This thinking has to run through everything. The entire Vedanta can boil down to one statement. Everything is unlike you, but not other than you. The body is unlike you, not other than you. The mind is unlike you, not other than you. Your Sukha Dukkha is unlike you, but not other than you. Everything is made of you. Just as mirage is made of sand, or the snake perception is made of the rock, or the dream is made of the very dream conscious being. I am soham, I am naham, I am he, I am that, I am he, that is not me, this is me, that is not me, he is me, he is not me. Don't live a sense of division. Quietly understand humanity is suffering a sense of division. Division not between oneself and another jiva, that is not the non-division. Between one's being and the rest of the universe. Man is suffering between a sense of division between his being and the universe. That is why his being looks constricted. The body is also, the same logic, is unlike him, then that him is other than Deha. The body is unlike him, but it's not other than him. The mind is unlike him, but not other than him. The time is unlike him, but not other than. The entire Srishti is unlike the source, but not other than the source. Why? Bhashyakara says very nicely, taditarena abhavaha. He says, Atma Vyatiriktena Anatmanaha Abhavaha. As separate from Atma, Anatma has no existence. Meaning what? It is non-separate from Atma. That means what we call Atma and Anatma, both are Atma alone. Tvattonyaho nasti. No. Sarvam Atmeti Nishchitya. Having understood that all is Atma, Sarvam Atmeti Nishchitya, Nisankalpaha. If everything is your being, then you are free from any thought. Meaning, if every thought is non-separate from you, then what is there? Only you are there. That means, Swamiji, no thoughts? Thoughts may be there, but they are not other than you. There is a big problem, ji. Once you know the Atma, then there is no world. That's not true. That is a useless Vedanta. If it is so like that, aisa thodi hai. When you understand the truth, you understand the Jagat as unlike your being, but it's not other than. You figure out the being's reality as yours. You figure out the reality of the world as your being. And in figuring out yourself, everything is also figured out. When the fact is known, when the rope is known, the snake is not right. Nor the snake is right. The snake is understood as nothing but rope.
as only rope alone is. From that point of view, in view of the fact that it is rope alone, it doesn't enjoy its identity as a snake is non-existent. Yes, it gets falsified. Snake's identity as snake is falsified. Then what is there? Its identity as the fact, the rope alone is. In understanding one's being also, the Jagat's identity as Jagat gets falsified. Why? Because it's non-separate from the being. Non-separateness means what is non-separate from something, what is non-separate loses its seen identity. And it is appreciated to be nothing but what it is non-separate from. If the wave is water, in my thinking, the wave loses its identity as a form. And then what is there is only water. If Anatma is non-separate from Atma, the Anatma loses its identity as physical. If the physical is non-separate from the conscious, if the physical is non-separate from the conscious, then the physical loses its identity as the physical, and only conscious identity remains. Thus, it is a falsification of a notional identity. It's not that there is a snake and which can be false. Only perceptions can be corrected, please. Objects cannot be corrected. Understand, Badha means correction. The word correction has no substitute. Has no substitute. आज कोई बात नहीं जी. मोक्ष में ये सब नहीं होता है. कोई फर्क नहीं. Therefore, correction, the word correction has no substitute. If you say negation, it becomes an event. Negation of an object it becomes. Elimination of an object. Resolution of an object. Dissolution of an object. All these words bring to the mind the connotations of the objects. But once you say correction, you don't correct an object, you only correct your thinking. The best word. Badha. Even though we all use the other terms also, but the Tatparyam is only correction. But sometimes when you get obsessed with the other words, then that obsession also makes you take root in the notion of there being object. Negation of the snake. Suppose you can say then the snake is a real thing. I have to negate the snake. How does it go away when I come to know the rope, if it is a real snake? How does it go? Correction can be understood. How does something go away? Go where? Where do you dump the snake? Therefore, it is not possible to negate anything except wrong thinking. No fact can be negated, ji. If there is a real snake, you can't drive it away. Or you can kill it, or you can drive it away, but you can't correct it. That is why it is very difficult to reform a person, because his thinking needs to be corrected. And in order to correct the thinking, his cooperation is required. Because I can't correct your thinking, you have to correct your own thinking. I can only help you, but ultimately you have to. But generally when you try to help somebody, work on somebody, he doesn't cooperate with you. He says, you get lost. I know how to look after myself. If I drink, I am drinking. I withdraw money from my own account and I drink. And you don't interfere with me. Then what will you do? It's not easy, Ji. Social reform, these are all just very big Herculean effort. In times, everybody has to burn his fingers and become wiser. You can't really make somebody wiser. He has to grow. He has to first burn his fingers. You know, burning fingers? And preferably burn all the 10 fingers. Yes, when you burn all the 10 fingers, then akal aata hai. Unless you burn all the fingers, you don't think. And therefore, correction is different from negation. Correction is different from elimination. Correction is different from dissolution, resolution, etc., etc. Laya can be called resolution, but understanding that it is not snake, it is only rope, is a correction of one's perception. Is the universe also one's perception? Yes, that is why it can be corrected. Like dream is a perception, but continues to look as a reality. So what? If dream is a perception, at least when I am able to think like in the waking state, I should think correctly about the dream. It is just a perception, and a perception doesn't exist outside the perceiver. Therefore, the entire dream is dreamt by the dreamer within himself. You don't dream an object outside yourself. You dream an object within yourself and imagine that it is outside. We see a universe within our being, the truth, and imagine and then think that it is outside me. Yes. Just as when we look into the mirror, we think I am inside the mirror. You understand, it's an illusion. I tell you, human illusions are more dangerous than human superstitions. I tell you, human superstitions are nothing, but human illusions, my God. What illusion? Even superstitions are any kind of an illusion. Illusion is not a superstition, but every superstition is an illusion. And therefore, Bhagavan says, Tvattaha anyaha nasti sarvam atmeti nischitya nissankalpaha sukhi bhava. May you live comfortably and peacefully. Because the depths of the ocean do not have to be disturbed by the waves, because they are, I don't mind using this term, they are superficial. The depths are always peaceful. The universe is chaotic, the world is chaotic, but the underlying truth, your own being, is silent. The wave has ups and downs, the forms, but the water remains water. Inside the waterness, there is no change. Wave doesn't take away the waterness of the water. Bubble doesn't take away the waterness of the water in it. Similarly, the universe doesn't take away the fullness of one's being, the conscious identity of one's being, the time-free identity of one's being, the silence of one's being, the peace of one's being. And therefore, here Bhagavan says, understand yourself and be peaceful. मैंने कल कहा था ना, थोड़ा खाओ सुखी भवा। थोड़ा खाओ, ज़्यादा मत, ज़्यादा खाने से बड़बड़ होती है। थोड़ा खाओ, सुखी भवा। अनदर थिंग इज, अपने आप को जानो, सुखी भवा। दैट्स व्हाट अष्टावक्र जी सेज. इट्स नॉट माय एडवाइस, इट इज हिज एडवाइस. ही सेज सर्वम आत्मेति निश्चित्य. डोंट इवन accept the sense of division between Atma and Ananda. Don't think there is a division between truth and error. Just as there is no division between truth and error, there is no division between the conscious being and a perception. Thought-free being and the thought, there is no division. Like between air and space, there is no division. Air is non-separate from space. Wave is non-separate from water. An ornament is non-separate from gold. Thus, everything is non-separate from the truth, and that truth is not different from your being. Your being is not enough. Don't judge your value in terms of what you have achieved or not achieved in this world. You cannot be, your existence, your value cannot be judged by what you own. What you are cannot be judged by what you have. No. What you have, even if you have the whole country in your hand, that's nothing. You can't judge. You are unlimited. The unlimited cannot be judged through any limited thing. Therefore, don't be judgmental about you. Better to listen to Vedanta, which says all about you. The truth. It says, that truth thou art. And it says, it's not judging you in the light of what you have. That is the common statement made to a rich man, to a poor man, to a king, to a beggar, to a mosquito, to a cow, to a crow, to a pigeon, anything. That truth thou art. That source, that being thou art. It is the same statement, that water thou art is given to the wave, to the bubble, to the froth, to a bigger wave, bigger wave, bigger wave, to every creation in the water. The same teaching is given, that water, expanse of water, the water. Size is kalpitam. Limitation is kalpitam. Nisankalpaha sukhi bhava. Next verse, let us. Tavaiva jnanato vishvam tvameka paramarthataha tvattonyo nasti sansari na asansari cha kaschana. This verse we will see in the next class. ठीक है ना? हरि ओम जी. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांति.